Hello again. I'm making another short video. It is linked to the pyramids again. I just wanted you to see and understand these two underlying crystals they used. They used amethyst and they used quartz crystal. And when you see what benefits they have, or why people are using them, or even that these pyramids were making electricity of their own. It was maybe a bit different. They were using free energy, or making free energy, no, tapping into free energy by using these crystals. But the thing is that these crystals were to go to the source, the underworld, whatever you want to call it, spiritualness, whichever path you see it. But this video explains some of these things about crystals. I just want you to realise that you're looking at ruins. These things, this network, this system that we were in was a grid, and they all work together. And a lot of them still are working to a degree. Anyway, watch the video and then maybe make some comments. Thank you.
First thing I'm going to do is put some water into this jar. And once I've done that, I'm going to put some blue food coloring into the water. Now the food coloring is used to help the camera more visually see the demonstration. Once I've done that, I'll go ahead and stir in the food coloring, and I'll begin filling this blue container with a spoonful of water. Once I've completed filling each compartment with water, I'll put it in the deep freeze so that I can make ice. This demonstration will visually show you one of the three major forces of quartz crystals. The energy I am speaking of is far infrared energy, which is part of the electromagnetic spectrum, just like the colors of a rainbow, and radio waves are also part of the same spectrum. The other two quartz forces are piezoelectricity, which is the crystal's ability to create an electric voltage when put under pressure. The last force is the ability to emit negative ions. Negative ions are essential in halting the cascading effect free radicals create when they steal from healthy cells the ions they need to repair their own cell structure. The thing that makes crystals more powerful than other stones is the fact that they grow in an organized spiral pattern. This growth matrix causes each atom of the crystal to line up in a structure that is similar to a serial battery, whereas each singular crystal atom has a minute ability to create energy. The effect of millions of atoms connecting as one in series allows them to create a power equal to the sum of their parts. I will now weigh the two stones that are going to be used in the demonstration. The first stone is the quartz crystal, and it weighs 18.4 pounds. The second stone is a sandstone I found along a riverbank. Visually, I can actually see some quartz in it, so it too has a little bit of quartz. It weighs 18.4 pounds. So now that we've shown that both weigh the same, I can set up the demonstration. I now have the demonstration set up. This jar lid is going to be our control. I'll put some ice in it so it can melt at room temperature, but it won't have any other effect on it. And now I'll show you the ice, which is all ready to go. Here it is, nice and frozen, nice and blue. But before I can actually use it, I need to do one other thing. I need to take the temperature of both of the stones and the lid. The jar lid's temperature comes in at 71.9 degrees. That's room temperature. And now the sandstone's temperature comes in at 71.4 degrees. Basically room temperature too, but just a little bit cooler. The quartz crystal's temperature comes in at 71.1 degrees, so it's the coolest of all, but all three are basically at room temperature. And now I'm ready to go ahead and start the demonstration. First I will put some ice into the lid and we'll get it going first. Next I'll put ice on the sandstone, and last I'll put a piece of the ice on the quartz crystal. Now the idea of this demonstration is to just watch ice melt and to see if any what effect the stones have on melting the ice. To go ahead and zoom in a little bit so we can get a better picture as we watch this. And as we're watching this, I'm going to explain a little bit about what we are seeing. The great thing about far infrared is that both the human body and quartz crystals emits it at about 10 microns. Because of the similarity between the two, the body gains the capability of easily being able to assimilate the crystal's far infrared energy. In fact, this ease of assimilation even has a technical term, which is resonance absorption. Essentially, resonance absorption is the ability to smoothly transfer energy between like masses. Because of this energy kinship between crystals and the body, each cell that receives far infrared energy can almost instantaneously transfer it to the cells next to it. This process is repeated over and over again, and within a blink of an eye, millions of cells can become charged with energy. Far infrared energy penetrates the tissues of the human body up to 1.5 inches, and therein lies the strength of resonance absorption. For not only does it allow easy assimilation, but its vibrational or wave quality gives it the ability to go deep within the body. There are 8 major healing benefits of far infrared energy, which are 1. That it promotes cellular growth by giving the cell extra energy. 2. It generates better blood circulation without putting any extra strain on the heart. 3. Far infrared raises the white blood cell count. 4. Improves the circulation of other bodily fluids, such as those in the lymphatic system. 5. The heat produced by far infrared helps to relax muscles, which in turn helps in the person's ability to overcome pain. 6. It helps repair damaged tissues by more quickly bringing the nutrients needed for healing. 7. Because of the heat generated, it can inhibit some bacterial growth. 8. It promotes the detoxification of the cell. Some of the health conditions far infrared has been known to improve are arthritis, muscular aches and spasms, joint stiffness, poor circulation, weight problems, skin conditions, toxic overload, and fatigue. So what exactly are we seeing here in this demonstration? Well, it has been established that both of the stones and the ice in the jar lid basically started at the same temperature of 71 degrees. So it's not the room temperature itself creating the crystal's quick meltdown. What is happening is that the crystal transforms its inner heat of 71 degrees into far infrared energy, then radiates it into the ice. With this being the mechanics of how crystals radiate far infrared, an interesting effect is created when a person uses quartz for health reasons. For as the crystal transmits far infrared energy into a person, that individual in turn retransmits body heat back into the quartz. Interestingly, this creates a perpetual recycling effect that continues to warm and vibrate the area being treated long after the quartz has cooled to its surrounding temperature. It has now become obvious which ice cube melted the quickest. It was the one that was on the quartz crystal. I'm now going to show it to you. It fell right out. Well, I'll go ahead and show you the one that's on the sandstone. As you can see, it actually melted some too. Maybe about halfway through. And I'll show you the ice that's in the control. That didn't melt very much. Let me show it to you on the edge. it melted maybe 10%. And so there you have the demonstration of how far infrared affects water molecules.
Now, some of the items that we're going to discuss are the use of crystals, types of crystal substances used, crystal characteristics, the frequency stability of crystals. You've learned that frequency stability is of the utmost importance. As an example, let's consider a radio broadcast station. One particular regulation prohibits the frequency of the station from changing more than a few cycles, so that the station will not interfere with another station operating on a nearby frequency. Now, for this reason, the oscillator producing this frequency must be one with the very best frequency stability. An oscillator capable of producing such an output is the crystal-controlled oscillator. We're not going to study the oscillator circuit in this lesson, but we will study the characteristics of the crystals used in such a circuit. And here I might add that the crystal will be used as the frequency determining device of the oscillator. A crystal used in oscillator circuits must possess a characteristic known as piezoelectricity, or the piezoelectric effect. Now, the piezoelectric effect is defined as the property of a crystal by which mechanical stress produces electric charges, and conversely, electric charges produce mechanical stresses. Now, this is saying nothing more than if a voltage is applied to the crystal, it will vibrate. The amplitude of these vibrations are much greater at one frequency than at any other frequency. Now, this one particular frequency is called the natural resonant frequency of the crystal. Now, let's look at some of the crystal substances that possess the piezoelectric characteristics. They are Rochelle salt, tourmaline, and quartz. Now, of these three, Rochelle salt exhibits the piezoelectric effect to the greatest degree. However, quartz crystal is most generally used because it has a greater mechanical strength. Quartz crystal, remember, it has a greater mechanical strength. Now, I want to show you a piece of quartz crystal in its natural form. Now, if we were to examine this carefully, we can see that the quartz crystal has a hexagonal cross-section. That is to say, it has 6 sides. Now, also, quartz crystal in its natural form has pointed ends. Now, let's take a look at this drawing so that we can determine more about the quartz crystal. The top viewed indeed shows us that the quartz crystal has a hexagon shape, 6 sides, while the lower view points out that indeed the quartz crystal in its natural form does have pointed ends. Now, quartz crystal in its natural form cannot possibly be used in oscillator circuits. It must be cut in a specific manner to exhibit its piezoelectric properties. I know all of you at one time or another have heard of diamond cutting. The reason a diamond is cut is to give it brilliance, and the manner in which it's cut will determine its degree of brilliance. Now, all crystals are not cut in exactly the same manner, just as all diamonds are not cut exactly the same. The properties which a crystal exhibits are dependent on the manner in which it's cut. Now, there are many different cuts, but we're only going to examine 3 basic cuts. Let's go over and I want to show you the actual cuts now. I have here 3 crystal cuts. Now, all crystals look the same, but not all will exhibit the same characteristics. its frequency will be dependent upon its thickness. Let's take a look at two pieces of crystal cut and compare this difference in thickness. As you can see, the thinner cut here, the thicker cut here. We're indicating here that the vibration of this thinner cut, or the frequency, is greater than this cut. Now this will always hold true. The thinner the crystal cut, the higher the frequency of oscillation. Now there are a few other crystal cuts with better frequency stability, but these will not be discussed in this lesson. Now, when an extremely high degree of frequency stability must be maintained, the crystal will be placed in a temperature oven. A temperature oven is nothing more than a thermostatically controlled container used to maintain the crystal temperature in its proper range. And in doing so, of course, we have a high degree of frequency stability. Now, in order for a crystal to be used in an oscillator circuit, it first must be placed in a holder. Now, the crystal holder will support the crystal physically and provide the electrodes by which this voltage is applied to the electrode. The holder must allow the crystal maximum freedom of vibration at all times. Let's look at this of a typical holder. The crystal will be placed in the holder between two parallel plates. The plates have an air gap between them, which allows room for the crystal to vibrate. Now these are the pins that will allow the voltage to be applied to the plate. And also the pins will allow the crystal to be connected into a circuit. Now so far we've seen the physical characteristics of the crystal. Let's now see how the crystal reacts electrically. To do this, we'll look at the electrical equivalent of a crystal and its holder. The crystal itself, when vibrating, acts very similar to a series resonance circuit containing resistance, inductance, and capacitance. Remember, this is when the crystal is vibrating. Now, when the crystal is placed in the holder, the capacitance of the holder will be placed in parallel like this. CH, the capacitance of the holder. So this capacitance represents the holder capacitance. This represents the vibrating crystal. Now, just because this vibrating crystal is equivalent to, or is the equivalent of a series LC tank circuit, I don't want you to think that it's the same thing, because the crystal will be far superior to the LC tank circuit. Now, the Q of the crystal circuit is many times greater than that of the LC circuit. Let's take a look at the comparison between the Q of a crystal and an ordinary LC tank circuit. The Q of an LC tank circuit is seldom greater than 2,000, whereas the Q of the crystal is sometimes as great as 30,000. And as comparing these two, you can see that the Q of the crystal would be many times greater than that of the LC tank circuit. Now, because of the high Q, this would mean that the crystal would have better frequency stability. Now, let's look at some of the values, both physical and electrical, of a typical crystal. If the crystal is going to be used in an oscillator circuit as the frequency determining device, let's take a look then at the schematic symbol for a crystal. These two plates represent the crystal holder, while this area would represent the crystal itself. Now, this is the schematic symbol of a crystal used in oscillator circuits. Now, let's recap a few of the points that we've discussed in this lesson. First, we saw the use of the crystal. Now, we said that the crystal must exhibit the piezoelectric effect. And we define the piezoelectric effect as the property of a crystal by which mechanical stress produces electric charges, and conversely by which electric charges produce mechanical stresses. Then we saw the three substances used. Rochelle salt, tourmaline, and quartz. We said that Rochelle salt exhibits the piezoelectric effect to the greatest degree, but that quartz is most generally used because of its mechanical strength. This represented the crystal holder, this the crystal itself. Now, in concluding, we can say that the one big advantage of the crystal is its frequency stability. Remember, it has a very high Q, giving us a very narrow bandwidth. That just about concludes the lesson on the characteristics of crystals. So until another time, so long.
Hi everyone, this is Kim, and I wanted to take a few moments to show you some different techniques on how you can use a clear quartz point. And here I have one with me. It's just a basic quartz point. It's nothing fancy. Oh, it does have a window on it, and a window is like the window to the soul. That's when you have the little diamond shape cut out. It's like an extra face on the crystal, and I have some pictures of those on my Facebook page and in my Facebook group if you want to check those out. But I wanted to show you a couple different things you can do with the clear quartz points. So first off, with the point, the energy goes out through the direction of the point. Now there's energy coming all off of the crystal, but it flows in the direction of the point, so it'll actually be flowing up and out the tip of the crystal. So you want to remember that when you're using your crystal. So let's say, for example, you have a headache. All right, you want to use this crystal, put it on wherever your pain is, on the top of your head, let's say, or on the side of your head, wherever your pain is, and you want to direct that pain to go into the crystal and out the tip. So you don't want to have it going this way if you have pain. You want to direct it out of your body. So any kind of disease or anything that's bothering you, let's say you have a lot of emotional distress, your heart is aching, you know, you can put it on your heart chakra and do the same thing. You can put this anywhere on your body, whether it's a physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever the case may be, and direct that energy out using your mind's eye, using your intention, your will, and direct the energy to go into the crystal, and it'll come out and leave your body. So that's one way in which you can use it. Now you can get energy to go into your body. So let's say you wanted to work on connecting with higher self or angels or the divine or whatever. You know, you can have your crystal facing down, have the point going down, so that the energy is going, you know, through the crystal and out the point and into you. So that's another way you can use it if you want to direct energy into your body or into your energy field. You would have the crystal pointing towards you. If you want it to leave your body, you have the crystal facing away from you. Okay, so away if you want to have whatever it is that's bothering you, or you want to have that come out of you, you have the crystal facing outward. If you want something coming into you, you have the crystal facing toward you. Right? That makes a lot of sense, right? Another thing you could do with your clear quartz point is you can put it in your crystal grids. It's going to not only amplify the energy, but also direct the energy in different directions. So you have it all around your grid, all around the outside of your grid, so that the energy is going out further. Or if you're looking to get the energy brought in, you would have the point directing toward the inside of your grid. Or if you want to have energy flowing in between your stones, you can have double terminated points in between each stone or each section of your grid, so that the energy is kind of flowing back and forth. You can also do that on your body. You can use a clear quartz point on various parts of your chakras or in between chakras. So let's say you have a blockage in between your heart and your throat chakra. You can have a double terminated point, which this is not double terminated, but let's say it is. But you could put a double terminated one in between the two chakras, so that there's energy flow going in both directions. Or if you don't have a double terminated one, you can use one in one direction and put one next to it in the other direction, so that you do have some kind of energy flow. Clear quartz points are also great for activating your grids, and they are easily programmable, and you can put your intention into them and use them really for whatever reason. If you're looking to close a portal, you can use it in that manner to close a portal. You can also use them to work on the chakras, to actually, get the chakras spinning. You can use them for that. So there's a lot of different ways you can use your quartz point. Oh, another way, I just thought of this. When you're meditating, you can have a clear quartz point in one hand with the point facing up towards you, and then a clear quartz point in your right hand facing away from you. And so you have this energy flow going in and out your body. And you can also use the clear quartz points while you're meditating, laying down. If you wanted to, you can have one this way, right, with the point down, so you're getting the energy coming through the tip into you. And then you can have one down at your root chakra, down by your ankles, the bottom of your feet, and you can have one also going down. So that way you just have this, like, you're directing the energy to go all the way down. And you could do the same thing if you wanted to have it coming up. If you were looking for grounding or earthing, you can have it coming up through the bottom of your feet and then coming up this way. It all depends on what you're trying to do. The point is to remember the point, and remember the energy is actually flowing in the direction of the point. So, if you're trying to get energy out of your body or away from your body, you're pointing it away from you. If you want it to come towards you, you're pointing it towards you. And I think that's really the important thing to remember when working with any kind of point, not just the clear quartz. So I hope I give you some ideas. If you have any other ideas on how you can use a clear quartz point or any point, please let me know in the comments below.
Hey guys, it's me, Jenna from the White Witch Parlor, and today I want to talk about amethyst. I absolutely love this stone. This is a stone that came into my life right when I was really blossoming in my spiritual awareness, and also amber, actually. I really was drawn to amber and amethyst, but let's talk about amethyst today. Amethyst is amazing. It does often merge with other minerals such as citrine, smoky quartz, and clear quartz, and when it does, it actually becomes a whole new crystal, and that crystal is something that carries more metaphysical properties with it, more healing properties. So if amethyst is formed with a mineral like citrine, it becomes ametrine, and now you have the properties metaphysically of amethyst and citrine, so you're bringing spiritual awareness with abundance. Amethyst is really cool. It is a stone that actually was used for a lot of burials and things like that nature, because it is said that it connects us closer to the spirit world. So this is a good stone to use whenever you're working with your ancestors, or you're working to, so basically Samhain, or if you're working with any divination practices. So things like tarot card readings, divination, like pendulum readings, or if you're doing automatic writing or meditations or any kind of spellcrafts, it's always good to have amethyst by your side. Can you guys guess what chakra this one works with? It works with our third eye, because the color vibration matches that. So it brings our spiritual awareness to a whole nother level, and if you're wearing this as a talisman, you'll find yourself kind of blissed out a lot. So it's not good to drive being blinged out with amethyst. You want to kind of keep yourself grounded, and if you are surrounding yourself with a lot of amethyst, doing a lot of meditation work with it, you will find that you need to ground yourself a little bit, because it is going to give you this kind of spiritual buzz, spiritual high. With that, it also does work really well with any kind of dream work. If you're trying to get closer to your spirit guides and work a little bit more on the same level and vibrational plane with them, amethyst is good to have by your bedside, because your dreams will become enhanced. Amethyst is closely associated with the element of water and the moon. So it's really good if you're working with any of the deities like Diana, the goddess of the moon, or the protector of animals. If you want to draw on that natural wild woman energy, amethyst might be your go-to. If you're working with full moon rituals, amethyst is a must to have nearby, because like I said, it definitely raises your spiritual vibrations, and it causes you to have more of a connection with this cosmic levels. So earth and as above, so below, you need to be connected if you're working in that realm. Physically, amethyst is a great stone for sobriety. So if you're overcoming any addictions, kind of need to carry amethyst by you, because amethyst helps calm our emotions, helps keep us a little bit more stable so that we know what we want, helps bring out our true selves. And especially for those of you who are Pisces, you might really find yourself drawn to this stone because it does help enhance your creative skills, your artistic abilities and things like that. And with your empathetic nature, that might be really important for you so that you can really be who you are and not let other things sway your opinion. Which is another thing amethyst is good for, actually. It helps block any negative energy. It helps strengthen your aura. So if you are an empath or an empathetic individual who's so susceptible to emotions of people all around you, at work or at home, or just yourself, finding yourself in bad moods, carry some amethyst. It will help to reflect any of that negative energy and keep your aura really strong because it's working off a spiritual high. So you're
with your host, Marlena Moonchild. Episode 20, Amethyst, Princess of the Gem World. Part 1, Fast Facts. Keywords: protection, purification, divine connection, release of addictions. Chakras: third eye, crown and etheric. Element: wind. Physical effects: overcoming addictions, tinnitus, nerve disorders, and aids oxygenation of the blood. Emotional effects: helps clear negative or addictive emotional patterns. Spiritual effects: facilitates conscious connection with spirit guides, angels, and the source. Part 2, details. Amethyst is part of the quartz crystal family. It has a trigonal crystal system and its hardness is 7. It varies in color from light to dark purple, depending on how much manganese and iron it contains. It can be transparent or opaque. Amethyst is found in Brazil, Bolivia, Mexico, Africa, Canada, Russia, the USA, and Europe. Amethyst derives its name from the Greek word antastos, which means not intoxicated, for it has always been thought to prevent intoxication and overindulgence. Amethyst is the birthstone of February. Spiritual protection and purification are two major benefits amethyst can provide. It can help one give up bad habits and stop overindulging. It is a good stone to carry when trying to quit smoking, drinking, or other addictions. It works by clearing the energy field of negative attachments and influences. Then it creates a shield of spiritual light around the body that wards off negativity. Amethyst opens the third eye, crown, and etheric chakras, which makes it very useful in meditation. It helps clear one's mind and elevate into the upper levels of consciousness. Wearing amethyst helps to keep the body and energy fields in a state of balance, harmony, and health. Amethyst is also known to increase intelligence, control evil thoughts, and enhance business skills. It is said to protect travelers from danger and misfortune. Amethyst also helps protect soldiers from harm and can bring them victory in battle. Hunters can use amethyst to increase their odds of success. Amethyst is also considered a powerful protector against witchcraft and black magic. It may also protect the wearer from disease and illness. Spiritually, amethyst provides a connection to the divine or source. It is popular for rosaries and prayer beads, said to imbue one with pious calm, mental peace, and quietude. The high frequency of amethyst purifies the aura and can enhance psychic abilities. It can also enhance creativity and passion by boosting imagination and intuition. Because of this, amethyst is an excellent stone for artists, composers, inventors, poets, and painters. Called the All-Healer, amethyst is one of the most effective crystals for healing people, plants and animals. Natural unpolished amethysts or geodes are particularly helpful placed where plants will not grow. It also counteracts negative earth energies beneath buildings or anywhere that feels hostile. Amethyst protects against psychic attack, paranormal harm or ill-wishing, and returns the energy back to the universe after being transformed into positive, loving energy. To increase this power and attract good luck, draw an image of the sun and the crescent moon over an amethyst in lavender incense smoke. Referred to as nature's tranquilizer, amethyst calms and soothes, assisting the transmission of neural signals through the brain. It relieves obsessive-compulsive disorder and hyperactivity in children and animals. Place under the pillow or mattress, or rub the center of the forehead counterclockwise to cure insomnia and stimulate pleasant dreams. It is especially effective for children's recurring nightmares and fears of the dark, and may help alleviate homesickness. Amethyst is an excellent stone for diplomats, negotiators and business people. It calms angry temperaments and gives a distinct advantage in situations where debating is required. Wear or hold amethyst to bring in spiritual insights coupled with intellectual reasoning. As a luck and prosperity crystal, amethyst is good for reducing the tendency to overspend, gambling addictions or unwise investments.